Feeling better?
Yeah, I'm more curious on what dinosaur noise I'm going to hear today.
I want to see Ian the Enforcer taking on the phone.
I mean, it's the rule of three. You know, third time. Nope. It's got to go in the hallway.
Coach, first I wanted to say happy belated birthday to you.
Whoa. Belated is all get out. I appreciate it, though.
Wanted to touch base on the South Florida athlete and how they stand out. During your coaching tenure, you have time with Santana Moss, Travis Benjamin, Devonta Freeman, and Nick Bosa at your several stops. And what's unique about those guys, and how has Chosen been similar in those aspects as a South Florida athlete?
So, well, first and foremost, it's one of the hotbeds in the country for talent. And, you know, my experience doesn't mean it's 100%er, but the guys you just named, you know, common denominator is that they're very used to good competition and have a chip on their shoulder to go above and beyond. The anytime in professional football you have athletes that also have the drive. You have, you know, top tier athletes with super drive or that are super driven to be the best at their respective positions in the game. That's a good formula for success. So I've always really throughout my career at all the teams I've been, there's been guys from South Florida that they have stood out because they're familiar with the competition and they have a burning desire to uplift themselves for sure. So they Chosen's been awesome to have around because he's at a point of his career where he's experienced a good amount of success, but he's hungry to continue to develop and improve. One of the most coachable guys that I've been around that have had success at the level that he's had in this league. He is open-minded, bright-eyed, and wants to be better, and doesn't just say that. A lot of people can say they want to be better, but then when you're trying to improve stuff, you have to be real with yourself and take criticism. And he is a tough-minded individual that means what he says and has followed through. Is really just approached it that he wants to be a part of the team. I think he is about the cause as much as anyone in terms of, you know, he knows the direct history of the Dolphins and what it would mean to the city for the Dolphins to be a success at the level that we all aspire. So, you know, he's doing it for the right reasons and doing it well.
I wanted to ask you about Tyrique. Obviously, last year we'd see him take basically every single rep. Didn't do much team, or I don't think 7 or 7 yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Is this just, you know, understanding at this stage of his career he doesn't need all that kind of work, or is he dealing with something?
No, there's a little, like, I'm very consistent that I'll be inconsistent with player to player. I think it's hard, but if you prove to the players that your intent is right and you and you're doing stuff for the right reasons, and you pay attention and know who's deserving it of a little time off, or maybe, you know, we're hypersensitive to maintenance of someone. Case by case, you approach it as such. You know, I know one thing: if Tyrique is at risk for further injury, he doesn't know any speed on the practice field, as you guys know, but full go. So there's also a component of coaches protecting players from themselves, and he's dealing with some minor stuff, but, you know, if at any point we think it makes the Miami Dolphins worse for someone to practice, turn the page, he will not practice. So that's kind of where he's at. Where I have no concerns of any player, whether you're the 53rd, the 90th, or one of the best players in the league. All of those players in a pool, Tyrique is probably the least I'm worried about being physically able to perform his tasks. And I will say he's in executing his assignments and walkthroughs. He is putting his best foot forward is night and day ahead of where he was last year with regard to the offense, and has his mind set on improving and getting better from last year, which is the only place we'd want it.
Mike, when it comes to year 2 in this system for Tua and overall year 4 for his career, what are you looking at on a day-to-day basis in practice to say, okay, I saw what I needed to see from Tua, we had a good day with him?
There's a lot that goes into that. I think year 2, the prerequisite is that he, as the quarterback, he has to have ownership of everything he's doing and what everyone else is doing. As the facilitator of the offense, and he's checked that box every day. It's been really cool in a year's time how he's not only learned the language but is now fluent in it, and that opens quarterbacks up to doing some of the components of the job that it's really hard to try to be the leader of an offense and motivate guys and encourage guys when you need to, or maybe be hard on guys when you need to, when you're just trying to spit out a play and know your own assignment. So I went into this offseason hoping that I would see a graduation of sorts, and really have every single day. So that's first and foremost. For his game, you're less concerned about the really good plays. Your attention is less drawn to that, and it's more about consistency of the entire practice, just like a game, where you can have some. He had his games where he made some big time plays, and then he wasn't as happy with the rest of the game. So kind of looking at it through that lens, and he's really been one of our more consistent, if not, he's been as consistent as anybody, day in, day out, which has residual effects to the whole team, and I know the team can feel it as well.
Is Connor Williams expected to return to the team before the end of minicamp, or is he expected to be away for the remaining 2 practices?
Well, I don't have my "What Would Connor Williams Do" bracelet on, so I like I said, I think this is, for me personally, talking about our workings. That's one hand the Dolphins, one hand Connor. It's something that I don't think is business necessarily that needs to be out there on the street that he can't answer to. We're in communication. I'm not going to put a day when he's back. He might be in the back of this room right now. I don't know. But like I said, I know where he's at, and we're in healthy communication. So there's nothing wrong with that. And then I have so many other very quality players to worry about that you'll get to watch in a minicamp day 2, which is where all of my concerns really focused.
But to your knowledge, not here today.
To my knowledge, he's not here today.
I want to ask you about David Long. We have not seen him much in team drills in the days that we've been here. at what point, I don't know if this is an injury-related situation or just a veteran rest, maybe you clarify that. But at what point does he have to get his legs in and gain a comfort level about the defense, or do you just worry about that at training camp?
No, so, we've been, although practices started, OTA 1, we had phase 2 in front of that, and he'd been getting really good work there, and then had a minor tweak of something that isn't that big a deal, but has cost him some immediate reps. Those we will see when he comes back, how much he got out of it. You can go one or two ways, where you can, be on the sidelines and observing and as a observer, or you could be gaining reps from putting yourself in the situations that the people that are playing are going through. So I think he's more the latter. But the great thing is he gets to show me and the rest of the coaching staff and his teammates how the time getting healthy has treated him. I love his energy. I love what he brings to the locker room. I love what he brings to the practice field. You can feel that he's out there, and I'm certainly excited for when he's able to get back on the field. But I'm not gonna all of a sudden overreact and put him out there before his body's fully ready. So he's in a good spot, and look forward to him getting out there. But first, he has to get fully healthy.
Mike, just kind of discussing what he was mentioning with David Long, the guys who've been in there in place of him during this time, what have you seen from them and maybe your overall inside linebacker depth?
Well, that's the key, really. Like, you have to be opportunistic to succeed in this league, for sure. And when you do have available reps, you need to seize them. And I've seen several players. It's given great work for our rookies, but then the extra reps, that really Gink's been able to get invaluable. Duke has been doing a tremendous job at that spot. Bake's been doing a tremendous job learning this new system and not just knowing it, but being able to react in an elite fashion. It's hard to do. It's not for everybody, but we got several quality guys that have gotten work, and then all the reps that the younger guys get are incredibly invaluable. As I talk to the team about numerous times, you don't know it, like, this might be the most reps that you get, for the first. These reps might be more than your first 2 weeks of training camp. You just don't know, so you have to be opportunistic. So each and every rep that people have been able to take as a result of him being out has been very beneficial, because this is all stipulated on. Guys are going after practice, in an elite fashion, and we've really had that thus far.
What kind of things do your coaches tell you about what Jalen Ramsey is like within the facility? What he's like in meeting rooms, on the sideline, when he's not in team drills?
Just very nice things. He's a very talented individual, in more ways than one. He's been exactly what we need from a guy that is in charge of holding a predominant piece in our defense. He's been engaged. He has history and a version of the scheme. So there's a lot of talking points that, if you have the right type of players, you can really get to the next level in terms of how you execute your defense. And he's fit right in with a lot of the veterans here. You can already see him push X for X's benefit. The the way he communicates with guys that are out there coming off the field, and Javon Holland. I mean, that's tremendous. But there's also, he's communicating with all the secondary players, as well as some of the guys that aren't practicing, like the Brandon Joneses or the Nick Needhams. Like, he is exactly what we'd hoped for, probably a little bit more.
Along those lines, you talked about Chosen being a guy that blends in well here. As a coach, with all the turnover there in the league now, how tough is it to get that group of guys? I mean, I've seen it go sideways some places, and how in touch do you have to be with?
It's huge. You have to, first and foremost, we wouldn't have a chance to have the camaraderie that we have in this locker room if it weren't for the personnel department and how good of a job they do in really figuring out what types of people we're getting on this team. And so as a result, I think, over time, you have a bunch of like-minded individuals that are trying to be their best, which is all to me, that's the only thing that wins, really. So are people going after it like that, at least on a consistent basis. So it's incredibly important. You have to pay attention to everything. I think before any player comes on this team, Chris and I are spitballing what's that going to look like with starting with the position room, and then you extrapolate that out, but that to the rest of the team. But that's a predominant fixture on our minds is what is our team going to look like, and it's not just Madden. You know what I mean? It's to get it to orchestrate the right way. You need the right people, and I'm very confident that we have that.
Mike, we've seen a more stout version of Tua this offseason coming in. What does maybe that added weight or strength do for him going into the season?
Yeah, I think the major part of it is that he's put time into his body that I think helps him perform all tasks. I think that he is. It's funny to reflect on some of the areas of concern, so to speak, when I first got here, or just things that were on my radar of, random people saying, okay, well, he's young or whatever, and I didn't have a complete picture on what type of professional he was, and as we stand right now, I mean, this dude is everything you'd look for in a starting quarterback in terms of professionalism, how he attends to his job, how serious he takes it. He takes pride in making sure he does his job, but more importantly, how he makes others better at their jobs. And all of that can fall on deaf ears if you're not living it yourself. And so I think it's empowered him to, kind of what I was talking about before, where he is really owning the position and going about the verbiage of the offense, but really as well as like motivating teammates and encouraging them. That probably doesn't look the same if he didn't, go about his individual work on his body, which has residuals all over the place. So you're talking his ability to make certain plays is enhanced. His ability to protect himself is enhanced. And his ability to communicate and do his job with his teammates is enhanced. I think it affects everything.
Can you give us an example of how the camera, the GoPro, has helped him? You've seen one thing get better the next day because he was able to see it on tape.
I think that added resource. He's seen it live, and he has a very strong recall in what he sees and is able to communicate it to coaches. So that it's more for coaches to see exactly what he's seeing. That's proved beneficial, as well as, I can. I'm not sure if you guys have it or if you've noticed or not, but I'm never in a huddle. Now I am. There's a lot that goes on with that. You don't, but how you communicate to your teammates, all of that's available now, and there's. I think he does get some enjoyment on, like, see Coach Bevel. This is kind of hard to see. But like, he's at the stage of his game where he already knows what he's seen, and he's is able to articulate it well enough to now we've just found out how honest he is, which is a great thing.
Do you use some of that to teach the other quarterbacks?
Absolutely. It has so many different applications, but they're all not totally calculated. I knew, I've really set off the last 2 consecutive team meetings with random things that are hilarious, like the noises Raekwon makes when he pass rushes. There's so it like I said, it's a tool of resource, and it has many different applications, and it's just case by case, play by play, that how you can really employ those applications.
Thanks, Mike.
The pterodactyl noises?